Why don't we just start with a couple of quick intros. Sarah, you want to go first?
Sounds good. Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Karthigan. I am the General Manager for Strategy and Innovation, Enterprise Data and Insights at Chevron. What that means is I'm responsible for the design and execution of the enterprise data strategy.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ehab Beshay. I'm Senior Director, Automation and Digitization in Honeywell. I focus on digital factory applications and manufacturing, harnessing data to insights, and basically finding opportunities for growth and driving business goals.
Yeah, Gene, your mic should just work.
Yeah, sorry. I was on the call. Somebody called me, say I have a short fire or something. I say, who? I'm on another call. Sorry. I'm a global head of digital product management. My area focus on supply chain, and which have a source, plan, maker, which is all the manufacturer, delivery, which warehouse distribution, and as well as QMC, quality and compliance, then as a kind of facility or those kind of function, right? It's about half of size of J&J area, but not R&D, right? Not in those areas, so.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. This one, we call it Industrial Tech Crossfire Business or Buzzword. We're basically just going to throw out some buzzwords and see what our panelists have to say about whether they're actually real business impact topics or just total nonsense buzzwords. We got a few scripted up to cover, but after that, we'd love to turn it over to the audience. So please start thinking about your favorite buzzwords for when we turn it over to the audience. But let's start first. Like I said before, it wouldn't be a tech conference if we didn't talk about generative AI. So let's start with generative AI. What do y'all think about that?
ChatGPT.
That's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's very important now, especially after with the application of ChatGPT and the opportunities that's actually opening up in actually again driving development faster, especially again with development in code, software, content, even in many applications, and documenting code. I see applications for that. But I think again, generative AI will have a huge opportunity that we need to start actually seeing how we're going to harness that going forward.
Right. So I think this is a lot more than ChatGPT, right? So think about software, right? We use thousands of software engineers just for developing and things, right? And you put the LLM module on top of GitHub. You know, sooner or later, I guess it's sooner, you will see, and those things will make software for you, right? You don't need many software engineers. And another area, and we're talking about use those LLM model to design drug, right? Nowadays, 50% of drug is actually designed in some way by, understanding the mechanism, how the chemical compound interactive with cells, chemistries, and the body organs, and those kind of knowledge aggregated through the model, right? You will see the innovation of a new drug will speed it up, right? Those are just a few examples, right? Legal, right? Sooner or later, you don't need a legal lawyer. Doctors, and look at the ChatGPT, give you answer. And compare your doctor, give you answer. See, how good they are, right? You see the potential.
All right, I'll go ahead and add my thoughts here as well. So generative AI Is that ready for prime time at an enterprise grade? Maybe not, right? There is potential, clearly. However, security and privacy are still big concerns, and those need to be dealt with before it can be rolled out at an enterprise scale. So see the potential, not just a buzzword, definitely business, but more to happen there.
ChatGPT wrote a pretty good program for today, though, right? Did good today. Writes good poems, really good poems. Okay, thanks for that one. I didn't think about ChatGPT discovering drugs. That's an interesting angle. Next is my favorite one, industrial metaverse.
I'll take a stab. Metaverse, right? The concept, the terminology seems new. However, the idea of creating virtual representations of industrial capabilities, that has existed for a long time. So nothing new there. What the metaverse promises is immersive learning and that experience. So it brings that promise with it. Again, there's more to happen here before it can be put to true use.
It's definitely something new. It's a buzzword, but starting with just a 3D model of a manufacturing environment is very helpful. Just to making sure, again, like at least some of the application that I'm seeing, very helpful. Be commissioning new lines on the floor on a 3D model just by actually scanning your environment and making sure you have that available. That's tremendous value to help commissioning new lines in place. That ties with perhaps other buzzwords like digital twin. So that's actually coming together, but I don't think was there yet to have that full potential. But I see actually the applications being developed toward that, and I see that we're going toward that.
So everybody see a movie called Ready Player One before? Raise hand. A lot of people see that, right? Yeah, and then you understand the potential, right? We will go there. Is ready in prime time, as you see Meta, right? Clearly not. The computation power, the amount of readiness, and the things you need to build that, it's not there yet. But there are a lot of potential. Obviously, you're talking about the digital twin, and they use that to chip away of some kind of a low-hanging fruit. Yeah, and there are, a lot of those kind of activity, but it needed some time to mature because 3D and all those really required a lot of computation power. We are not have more of an economic way of doing that yet to really make it to ROI feasible at this point.
And then another core constituent of the metaverse. Let's take blockchain for a spin.
Okay.
I know what you
lucky
two
for
think.
me. Okay, so obviously blockchain and the primary use area is in the currency, in the transaction, right? Think about banking system, right? The transaction takes 3 days to settle, right? A lot of manual, and obviously because of trusty kind of things, and the blockchain will be really needed in those areas. The innovation will come sooner than you think in those areas. Obviously, there are a lot of other usage, such as trust of data, right? Not only the financial transaction data, but also like in pharmaceutical clinical trial data. And there are a lot of area which dealing with trust, right? Like now, there are a lot of social media, right? How many you trust, right? So those are the area which blockchain could make a big impact?
I do agree with the fact that blockchain actually best application is digital currency, and mainly to solve the problem of trust. But as actually finding actual applications that can only be done with blockchains outside of digital currency, I can't say that there is something specific that cannot be solved with other technology, especially when it comes to speed, because digital currency, again, and the trust is the main thing that with blockchain is probably to be the most useful. But as far as applications in manufacturing, in business, there are other solutions actually that can provide the speed that I don't see actually why blockchain specifically will be the only solution for that.
I concur with Ehab. When we are looking at industrial applications, while there is potential, there's a long way to go here, and for it to truly become prime time. So there is potential, but again, mostly associated with digital currency type of use cases.
Right. It's really good for buying illegal things in the dark web, searching for its first true enterprise application. I like turning this one over to the audience sooner rather than later. I think that makes it more fun. So who's got one? You don't even need a mic. Just say it out. Web3.
Web3, right? Trustworthy blockchain, right? Building into. That's really, dealing with a lot of kind of spinning everywhere. Look at the campaign, how many people are spinning on the web, right? And social media, right? The choice, those things, right now it's in the initial investment. It's in the scaffolding building stage, and the Web3 will be there. Obviously, more and more people focus on first, low-hanging fruit, the ROI, and really focus on the currency area first.
I'd put Web3 in the same box as Metaverse, right? So still nascent, still ways to go before we can truly start realizing benefits.
I agree with that. I think Web3 is also associated with blockchain, and the same goes for that. Again, if it's a trust application, if blockchain is actually, again, the solution that would fit, I can see that. But I see Web3 and blockchain goes together.
Thanks. As far as I'm concerned, Web3 comes between Web 2 and Web 4. That's all I have to say about it. Who else has one? Somebody else in the audience? That's a good one.
So I thought we're in 5.0 now, but so yes, Industry 4.0, again, there is so many buzzwords under that. I guess it comes down to data. Harnessing data, how to use data to drive, again, business intelligent insights to drive goals. A lot of the challenges that's actually, again, most of organizations having is the infrastructure to handle all the data, handling assets, again, older asset that doesn't provide data, how you can actually modernize your assets to get that, how you build your infrastructure to handle that and you have to handle it in the cloud too to get the most of that. So there's actually data governance going to be challenging. The security aspect, OT security, is obviously one of the challenges as well. Getting organizations to invest, and where do you find actually that ROI and show this low-hanging fruit, say, okay, you can gain this, but you actually gain how it ties this to the ROI and getting that low-hanging fruit to get the further investment to provide that digital transformation part of Industry 4.0.
So I concur with Abe, right, regarding the Industry 4.0 really focus on the ROI, how we could actually combine, the trend is combine IT, IoT, and OT together, right? And really you need OT and to utilize it and to really combine them together to create a kind of a system that enable the business generate a positive ROI, right? That is the key for any kind of, successful of solution, right? So that's why not only focus on the building the basic element of the data layer, the application, but also combine with all those OT solutions to make it work.
Industry 4.0, it's all about connected assets, right? And as my fellow panelists pointed out, I think what is critical here is the data layer. How is your data going to integrate across those different assets? How is it going to flow from one area to another area seamlessly? And basically, how are we going to talk to each other, right? So what is that common vocabulary that we're going to use? So data plays a very key role in having a strategy associated with how you're going to combine, again, OT with IT, and how are you going to build this cohesive solution is going to be key for the success of that, but very much real.
Yeah, I want to jump on this one too. I'd like to start by saying I like all the concurring that's happening up here. It makes it sound so official what we're doing, that you're all concurring with each other. I've been in this space for a long time, working on Industry 4.0 strategies. Actually, a lot of you out in the audience were like clients of mine 7-8 years ago where we were working on this. And I remember if we had had this conference 7 years ago, almost all of you would have said, I will never put my operational data in the cloud, right? That's what you would have said. And now I think every single company in this room is doing it. And I feel like there's a lot of ways that you could try to measure progress in the space. I think that's an indicator that this has become a real thing, that even big oil and gas companies that were opposed to that, you got to do it, and you know it now, and you're stuck with it. There's other markers, but I think that's a good way to indicate that this is really happening. I think we got time for one more, and then we're going to wrap it up. Anybody else? Exxon. Is Exxon a buzzword? Oh, I thought you meant like Exxon Mobil. I was like, no, that's a business. Yeah. Augmented and virtual reality.
I'll take a stab at it. I think this ties to the metaverse, industrial metaverse, and the 3D. As far as actually, again, the virtual reality itself and the headsets specifically on the hardware and specific applications for the hardware, I think this is not taking off as was expected. I think to simplify this, the application, if it can be made to use mobile devices, iPad, phones, it makes it actually much easier to integrate and adapt. So I see that actually a lot of applications being designed toward mobiles, phones, and without actually specific hardware, and that's moving faster. And I think that ties with the digital twin and the metaverse. And I see the potential for training, remote assist, but I don't see it tied to a specific hardware is going to make it move faster. I think it's slowing it down.
The biggest application I see for XR is, of course, in safety and training, especially in the energy space, in the energy industry, right? There's a huge potential and application for XR. So yes, there is progress that is happening, looking into those specific areas to see how we can go ahead and innovate using that.
So we have a lot of those kind of activity in those areas, such as, people mentioned the training, right? We are in regulated industry. We have a lot of training. And we also get into a lot of those education, right? As J&J is the largest company in the world involved of operation, right? Surgery. And we focus on surgery. And as you know, surgery, right? A lot of new technique, a lot of new tools, a lot of implants require different kinds of surgery technique, require a lot of training for operator doctors, right? And I certainly see there are a lot of use cases there, but we don't have the technology is not as easy to create those kind of things to really efficiently to training, to educate, yet also the ROI, it's not in the area which is easily for other people to use. I see a guy from a journal, right, talking about a journal, right, and how do we create an ecosystem, make it easier to use. Those areas require a lot of investment and mature.
Well, I think that's all the time we have. So everyone just drop your mics. No, don't do that. But no, thank you all so much for coming today. We're gonna wrap it up now. We're gonna start the networking reception, which will run through about 6:30. I'd love to connect with everybody here. So if I don't have a chance to talk to you tonight, let's try to do a call sometime soon. Thank you for coming. Thank you for wearing pants, and hope everybody has a great night.